It's time to engage in cyber talk with the Chief of Cybersecurity.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another section of the Chief of Cybersecurity live streaming session. Today is going to be very interesting because we want to step back into our careers, all right? And I remember when I first started the IT industry, I was kind of, I guess, confused about what certification I need to take. So let me give you a little history. I started off saying that I wanted to be a network guy, right? I wanted to get to CCNA. I wanted to chase cables. I wanted to work with routers, switches, and firewalls. Then I took on a project with the Department of Defense. And then after I took on the project, the only thing that was left was to say, okay, then, do I really want to be a network guy? And then eventually what actually happened was that I kind of moved forward to, hey, let me go ahead and probably try cybersecurity. And then I got a job in cybersecurity, right? And then a friend of mine told me, said, you need to get to CISSP. He said that if you get to CISSP, you will always keep a job. So all I have to say is that, like me, many of you listeners are probably now thinking, okay, I want to enter the cybersecurity workforce, but I don't know what certification I need to get. I've been told that I can get a 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐤, Security Plus, but there's a lot of different factors that actually go into certification. So I want to show you something that's like really, really unique here. Okay. All right. Just go take a look at this. Now, this is a map where it shows various IT certifications, and it shows you the roadmap. All right. So if you're a security person, and if you look at information security at the top, you see you start off at the bottom here, and you constantly just keep moving up the chain into your intermediate level, and then also to the advanced level, and also the expert level. Now, what this means is that these are certifications that's been probably identified by 𝐃𝐨𝐬 and saying that this is the appropriate way to go. But likewise, our career changed. And when our career changed, that's when we have to reevaluate our certification paths. So let's just go and talk about how we can really channel our careers up and to actually have some of the best certifications. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to focus on today talking about which certifications should you choose. All right. So we want to start off by talking about the purpose of certifications. Then also too, we want to look at the vendor categories, 𝐃𝐸𝐤, 𝐴SECA, SANS. Then we want to look at some of the employment requirements, because if you come on a job as a security analyst or a security engineer, there's certain type of certifications that you may want. Then after that, we want to look at the labor categories, and then we're going to look at some of the other initiatives that are taken on board. One of those is the NICE framework, which is sponsored by the Department of Homeland Security. Then last thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about what certification should you choose. So let's just start off on the top here, because I have a set of notes. All right. So I really wrote these notes down because I want you to get the best information that you can get based on IT certifications. All right. So let's see who is out on the planet. Johnny Juice, how you doing today? Oh, Johnny Juice was in the Navy with me. All right. And I sent him a copy of my book called the Cybersecurity Mindset. And likewise, I think that Johnny Juice been working on some certification. If you like music, check out Johnny Juice out there on LinkedIn and Facebook. He has a rich history of music itself. So let's talk about some things. When it comes to certification, you need money. Some of us do not have money. If you are a military veteran and you have the GI Bill, you have a legs up because it costs a lot of money to go through these courses. All right. So it can be hard for certain people. All right. And also, too, you have companies that will vouch and pay for your certifications as well. So the purpose of a certification is supposed to help you advance your career, but also to actually demonstrate your ground-based knowledge. When I talk about the ground-based knowledge, I'm talking about the knowledge that you need to learn a particular area of cybersecurity. Let's say, for instance, if you work in a SOC environment, right? And if you deal primarily with incident handling, there are certain certifications that you can use to demonstrate your level of knowledge. One of the other factors, too, is that the certifications kind of provides a front view to recruiters and companies based on your knowledge and saying that this candidate has knowledge of incident handling or like penetration testing. Okay, so what you have to do is to model your certifications. Now, learning, because when we speak of learning, we are talking about those kind of things that you need to know as far as AWS. Maybe you need to know how to configure a router or a switch. All right, and that speaks of the CCNA certifications. Now, for the people that are just branching over into cybersecurity, I know you've been told a great number of things about which certification to pursue. And you're probably wondering now, I don't know which route to go. Stay with me. And then at the end of this live stream, I think your knowledge base will be a little bit wider about which certification to choose. One of the triangles that you need in order to channel through this industry is education, certification, and experience. In my previous podcast sessions, I spoke a lot about the triangle. So let's just revisit the triangle here. The certifications shows your level of knowledge, but also too, the certification has a lot more value than just the paper. It shows the commitment and time that you took out to study. When you look at the education, some people have went and got a bachelor's, some people have went and got a master's, some people have a doctorate, which is fine. Then the last piece is your experience. This is, to me, one of the strongest contributors of the triangle. Now, there's an argument that states that if someone has a master's degree and someone has a certification, who should be employed? Well, all of that is dependent on the employer. But you as a person has to look at this entire scheme and say, okay, how can I make myself marketable? And you follow the three triangles, okay? And if you look at all of the components of that triangle, all right, you have your education, and also too, you have your certifications, and also too, you have your experience. Kevin Foster, how you doing out there, Mr. Sir? Welcome and welcome and welcome and welcome to my live stream. All right. So one of the other factors too is that it's going to increase your skill sets. I remember when I was studying for the CISSP, and I went through Sean Harris videos like 20 times. And then I formalized a picture about certifications. And some of the knowledge that I picked up, it still rings in my brain cell today because I had these audio tapes that I would listen to when I was taking trips, maybe these little 3 or 4 hour trips. That's all I listened to. All right. So certification is going to help your skill sets grow. So let's just talk about some of the vendors out there. Here goes some of the vendors that normally hold certifications. CompTIA is a beginner's area for certifications as well. Now, what 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐤 does is that 𝐏𝐡𝐢𝐤 has the Security Plus, which is an entry level certification that you can achieve, and it will give you the ground-based knowledge that you need, especially about cybersecurity. EC Council, hands up, certified ethical hacker. Very good certification to also get as well too. SANS itself has the 𝐷CIA, which is for a SOC environment, and also to learn more about cyber intrusions. And also too, you have the GPN, which is for pen testing. All right, so you have these advanced certifications too, which is hosted by 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞, and those are for audit, governance, and risk and privacy. Now, that level of certification is designed for more senior level people, and if I believe here, most of the time you need 4 years of experience, or you need to have a college degree with most of these level 3 certification. And speaking of a level 3 certification, the CISSP. Now, the CISSP is by far one of the hardest certifications to achieve. When I went through my training for the CISSP, it was 6 hours, 250 questions. All right. Today it has changed, but still some of the content remains the same. Look at Global Podcast Studios has decided to join us today. In case you don't know, Global Podcast Studios is where I host a lot of my podcasts and live streams from. So you can say hello to them as well. And if you have any questions, you can post it in the chat room here, and I'll see if I can get to your questions prior to the live stream ending. All right, so you see there are certain vendors out there. If you go to this link, which is scrolling across the screen here, it actually takes a lot of these certifications and map them out so that you can see the vendors and you can see how much they cost, and you can see, for instance, if you're working in a SOC environment, which certification are recommended for you as well. So I'm going to leave this up for the entire live stream. Now, one of the other factors that can affect your certifications is jobs. All right. So in this cybersecurity industry, if you work in the cloud environment, AWS certifications, right? Azure certifications, all of those cloud certifications, it pretty much is what you need. Now, CompTIA has a Cloud Plus certification, which is a basic understanding of cloud security itself. Then also too, you have the CISSP, which is Certified Cloud Security Professional, which is hosted by 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐸, which is a great certification as well too. For networking, it's great for it. CCNA for Cisco products. Maybe there are some out there for Fortinet or for Checkpoint and Brocade as well too, because Checkpoint firewalls. Vulnerability and risk management. Okay, when you go and try to pursue a job, let's say for instance, if you're working on the vulnerability and risk management area, you need to probably look at certification that fit under that domain. The CISSP is a great certification because it covers a lot of information. If I were to take about 90% of the certification that are advertised out there, the CISSP contains that information as well too. Now, you can be very bold and try to get the CISSP first, and then go back and get the smaller certifications. There's nothing wrong about that. But trust me, you'll probably be studying more. All right. So it all depends on what you're trying to achieve. For applications, if you are somewhat like a software developer or pretty much somebody that deals with applications, some of these certifications that can help you out are probably like the CompTIA Security Plus, and also to the Certified Ethical Hacker, because the Certified Ethical Hacker focuses on application. If you can go get an let's say a certification on pen testing. Pen testing is very, very important too. So if you got a certification in pen testing, and if you add certified ethical hacker on that, and you got some SANS certifications, you know what? You're going to have recruiters there chasing you down at your front door. So something else that also important is that your resume, make sure you document your resumes properly, because when you get a certification, most recruiter asks, do you have a certain certification? But if you have it on your resume, then it makes it apparent and it makes it easier for the recruiter. Now the other side is that you be honest with that. Don't just put it on your resume because you want to get a job, because there are ways of verifying your certification, because like the CISSP, your candidate ID number can be matched up on its web page to see what your certifications are. So if you don't have a certification, don't go put it on your resume, because recruiters and some of the larger type of employers can go and research the information and see whether you have that certification or not. And it's best to just tell the truth and say, hey, I'm just studying for my certification and I'll be taking the test in 2, maybe 3 months. All right. Some of the other things that we really want to talk about is the labor categories. If you are an engineer, now an engineer is a person that designs things, working so well with the architect. I know that 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐤 has a CISSP certification, but also too there is the architect side of it that you can take that one as well too. Okay. Oh, who is this? He said took and passed my Security Plus back in 2007. Well, congratulations, Kevin. What else is next? Let us know. All right. Let me see. Some of the other labor categories, managers. Managers are usually taking certification like the CISSP, the CCSP, like the auditing certification from 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐤. Those are certifications that are designed for level 3. Now, there's nothing to say that if you just got out of college that you can't pursue it. But there are some stipulations. And I know that with the CISSP, if you have a 4-year degree, you can go take the certification, but you become an associate until you reach the full credentials. One of the other things too, especially about your certifications, is to keep up with your CVEs, your CPEs, because you're learning. Because if you don't, you will have to retake the certification again, especially with the CISSP. If you are involved with the Department of Defense, DOD 8570, there is a level 1, 2, and 3 certification requirement. Pay very, very close attention to that chart. I can say for sure, if you get a CISSP, you will fulfill about 90% of the requirements across DOD 8570. All right, so we're going through that right there. So let's talk about something else that's very important too. Out there, the Department of Homeland Security has the NICE framework. All right, so what the NICE framework does is pretty much it will map a person's position to certain certifications. All right, let's just say, for instance, if you want to be involved with forensics, it'll go break it down and tell you what forensic certification that you need to get. All right. Now, what that does is that it makes it easier for you as a candidate, because you don't have to do all the research. Because if you go by this banner that is coming across the screen here, and if you look at that link there is a lot of certifications that you could achieve. All right. You just have to make sure that you're picking the right one. And it can be confusing. All right. So So later on, I am going to break it down and give you my recommendations on how you can make yourself marketable by like having a series of different certification. Diversification is very important. So let's get back to the nice framework. All right. Um, it serves as a guide, to just help you map out your career. Because in the federal government, for information technology people, there are people that do databases, there are people that are involved with cybersecurity from all different levels. May it be the administrative side, maybe it may be the networking side, or then it may be something such as the cloud services. So there are certifications that map over to those three components. And the reason I keep repeating all the different areas is because over time you can make a decision that you want to change your career. Let's just say, for instance, right, you started off working in networking and you was a firewall architect and you got, and then you stayed, okay, I've been doing this job for 5 years. Now it's time for me to move on. I kind of want to work maybe say in just risk management. Okay. So that's when you may want to look at something like some auditing certification. Maybe you want to go and look at the CISM, which is Certified Information System Manager. Okay. If you look at those certifications, then those align over to risk management. Now, there are some others out there on the plan as well, too. I just want to give an example. So as you go through your career, you may be changing jobs. And secondly, too, is that when you get your certification, you may find out that, yes, it's a great certification, but you say to yourself, you know what, I find this to be boring. Okay. Because a lot of people like to stay busy. Um, and I know people that have 14 or 15 certification and they've been taking a certification test for the past 10 years, right? And they are marketable people because they did the work and they studied and they got the certifications. All right. Hands off to those people. All right. So some of the other things too is that the NICE framework is sponsored by the Department of Homeland Security, and it constantly is updated, um, maybe on an annually basis. And there are a lot of frameworks out there that you can find that will help you discover what cybersecurity certification that you need. Pay close attention to your employers because whatever company that you're working for, a lot of them have certain type of requirements and states that if you want to work in a cloud environment, then you need to have Azure or you need to have some AWS certifications. All right. All right. So let's get into the fun stuff. Which certification should I choose? All right. So from the top, like I stated before, you want to diversify your skill sets. You want to make yourself very marketable. All right. Now, I cannot give a direct answer for everyone that's listening to this live stream, but I am going to give an example. I'm going to take myself. Okay. So when I started off, I got the Security Plus. Then I got the CISSP. All right. Then I started to work for the government and I was doing some DICAP work. Then I got the CAP certification, which is on the RMF and the NIST 800 Type 53. Okay. So after that, I started to do some work, uh, as an analyst, and I liked it, the Certified Ethical Hacker Cert. So I got the Certified Ethical Hacker Cert. Then I realized that I like to uh, take time and to make cybersecurity work, just like the cybersecurity mindset, and try to build a picture. So I went on and I got the 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐤 cert. And then I realized that I was working on Microsoft Windows servers. So I got the MCTS cert. All right. so so all I can say is this: if you really want to make yourself marketable, think about how you can tap into every industry. Think about if you got the CISSP, and let's think about the Certified Ethical Hacker. Think about how you got some SANS certification. And think about now that the industry is changing where the cloud is growing, right? And maybe you need to take some cloud certifications, right? And now what happens is that you take cloud certifications and you have cloud. But then on top of cloud, maybe you want to be an architect, maybe a security person. So that's kind of a route to take, because if you're entry level, I would strongly say that if you don't know which route to go, start off with the 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐤 Security Plus. Now, I will say that 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞 has a level 1 certification now, which is, I think it's comparable to the 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐤 Security Plus. Let's just say, for instance, if you don't want the CISSP, but you don't want to take the 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐤 Security Plus because it's a lower level certification, I got an answer for you. It's called the SSCP. Look it up. And because the SSCP is kind of like the medium of your 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐤 Security Plus and the CISSP, it's called the SSCP. All right, that one is a good one as well too. And if you go and look at this banner that is coming up across the screen, there are a lot of certifications, okay, everywhere. And you know, the interesting thing, especially about certification, the more you get, the less space you have on your wall, right? Because if you don't want to hang no pictures up, then you just go get some certifications and just hang them up all over your wall right there, okay? So something else I want to put in mind here too is that job requirements dictate your certification, and I'm going to repeat that again. Your budget. If you don't have the money to go out and to pursue a certification, you know, as far as the 5-day boot camps, what you can do is go to YouTube and search for free training. There are some videos on YouTube that are about 3, maybe 4 hours long. And pretty much you can sit down in your living room somewhere and just go through the videos, right? Or you can purchase audio files and just listen to the audio files. Now, I'm not telling you to go through a bootcamp course, but most of the bootcamp courses are fast-paced. So the bootcamp courses are designed for people that have been going through training a lot, and now what they want to do is to brush up on their skills prior to taking the test. And there are people that have not really done too much studying and went through a bootcamp course and passed the test. Now, I'm just telling you the truth because people interpret information differently, but you decide on what's best for you. Some of the other factors too here, all right? CISSP keeps you on the clock, okay? Honestly, I don't know one person that has a CISSP that is unemployed. Now, I'm not telling you to pursue the CISSP. I'm just telling you from facts that I know. All right. So you can take that for what it's worth. Something else is that in order to be successful with these certifications, you are going to have to look at your studying tactics too, because you have to study. Take 1 hour a day and study for 3 months, and you will see the information will absorb, and you can go and take the test. All right. Some of the other factor too is that maybe you need to develop an individual development plan. What an individual development plan does is that it lays out your career roadmap for the next 3 to 5 years. And in there, it is the goals that you set for yourself. In one of my previous podcasts, I actually spoke about an individual development plan, and it was about modernizing the workforce. And if you go through that podcast, you're going to be able to see the information. Okay. And you'll be able to learn it. By the way, make sure you listen to my podcast and stay tuned. And also, too, I got a picture of my book over here. So make sure you share that with your friends. And if you are studying for the CISSP, I actually have a training guide. If you go to my website, which is www.dewayneHart.com, and if you go to books, there's a link down to a CISSP training guide that I also written as well too, and it covers a lot of information, and it's very in depth. All right, so what I did today was that I went through, some of the smaller things that you need to know if you want to advance your career in cybersecurity, and trying to decide on which certifications do you need to take, and likewise, right? Nobody can really tell you which certification to take. So what you have to do is to go and think about how you want to channel your career. Join me on LinkedIn. Stay active. If you have any questions, reach out to me. If you have something interesting to talk about, I want you to come to my live stream. I actually want you to come here and to share your information on cybersecurity. In the future, I am going to have some great discussions. I'm going to have some great people that are going to come to my live stream and to share some information, especially about the advancement in technologies. All right. So I want everybody to keep one thing in mind, that you are only as safe as your mindset.
You've been listening to the Chief of Cybersecurity Livestream. Please join the YouTube channel and purchase your copy of the Cybersecurity Mindset.